Happy Kwaai Day, everybody. Weekly public meeting number 20. Yay. We've accomplished a lot this week. There's a lot to report on, and we'll come on to that. Let's just to summarize, there'll be a reprise of the AI Digital Biology Symposium in San Diego that we participated in. There'll be an update on what's going on in the working groups. A lot of progress that actually occurred in the Pi working group, and I'm feeling confident that we are going to have a compelling demo at the Scale conference. I've had a number of meetings with other people that have been introduced to Kwaai. There's a guy called Gordon Friedman. Tell you maybe a bit more about him later on. And then we've made tremendous progress on the corporate filings. We'll give you an update on that just briefly. At the conference, hot off the press, I was able to show the approval notice that we got from the Commonwealth of Virginia for the filings of the articles. So the articles were approved. The step after that was to get the EIN. We got that. So now we have an EIN number. Great. Next steps are, now that we are an official corporation, we have our first board meeting and we ratify the bylaws to check. Okay, so that's the next step, and that's been scheduled for Thursday next week. After that, we are now set up to file the IRS form 1023. And so that's what's needed in order to get our 501c3 status. However, just the act of filing it is sufficient, and we can start operating as a non-profit. So we are on our way, and well done everybody that made it happen. I hand back to you, Matt.
Yeah, awesome. This is great, and I wonder if maybe Afshin, Riza, say just a few words about fundraising opportunities from here. Now with our EIN, the date, kind of what the considerations are there, and what types of fundraising that we may be out after.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Riza would be more apt for knowing what to do with the software codes, but I know for fundraising my side, I'm trying to go through the life sciences folks and see who might, be. I'm sure there'd be a lot of life sciences people that might be interested, biotech and things like that. So I'll see what I can do there. I can't guarantee anything.
Actually, the guy that you introduced me to, Gordon Friedman, he had a lot of input and a lot of experience also in funding nonprofits.
Yep.
And just rattled off a list of potential donors.
Yeah, just to give maybe background for folks, Gordon Freeman is a person that I've been working with. He's he started in the DC back in the 70s, and then he became a reporter, and then he actually did the movie Brief History in Time, the Stephen Hopkins movie. He produced that movie, so a lot of people might know that movie. That's how Stephen Hopkins became common, name for everyone to know. And then so I met him, though he unfortunately got mitochondrial myopathy as a disease, but he didn't know this until he actually diagnosed himself as a reporter instinct. So he's a very smart guy, non-scientist background, and then decided that the doctors weren't doing it for him. So maybe if the Kwaai was around, it would have diagnosed him quicker.
Yeah.
But so that's how I met him, and I'm working with him and a thing called Mito World, where we're trying to develop a mitoinformatics and a whole mitochondrial community to bring together. And then when I met him last week at UCLA, I told him about Kwaai, and then he's like, "Oh, I have lots of ideas. Introduce me to Riza." So that's how I said, "Riza, you should talk to Gordon."
Well, thanks so much, actually. He's a very interesting guy, and 1 hour was not sufficient to actually get a full brain dump from him. I feel like we could have talked for ages. He's one of those rare people that's also a physics and computer science sort of morph, and so we had a lot in common. I think we'll find, although he seems to be incredibly busy, we have to find a way to get him to participate. So, Matt,
sorry, one more thing. People in the Bay Area, he lives in Monterey, so if everyone wants to get together with him, he's on your side of the world.
Yeah, immediately he invited me to some event in Los Alamos. It's a whole fundamental physics thing. Okay, so I'm getting roped into that area. But look, Matt, you asked other ways in which we can raise funds. Now that we've got an EIN number, we can now accept contributions in kind. Now, I'm not an accountant, and I don't even play one during Dungeons and Dragons, but you should probably have a look at that, so that all the contributions you're making, you can contribute in kind through services. So services that you would normally offer at a particular rate, you can contribute in kind to Kwaai. And that, if you are a company and you are getting a potential tax bill, this could reduce your tax liability. And I think that's going to be a significant way. And so for the people that are already contributing to us, we have to just provide you a receipt to say, yes, thank you, we've received so many hours from you. And that is a very practical way of participating and getting some fiscal benefit from it. We'll figure out the exact mechanism for doing that, and we can't put a value on it. You are the ones that have to put the value on it. You have to say, let's see, I'm a lawyer, and I normally offer my services at $200 an hour, and I provided Kwaai 100 hours of service, and so we provide a receipt for that, and then you go and submit that in your tax return. Again, I'm not a lawyer.
None of this is tax advice.
Yeah, providing you tax advice, but that's what nonprofits. That's how nonprofits can accept service in kind.
Yeah. So instead of
You can do that retroactively too. No, it's just a joke.
In addition to kind of going out and talking to venture capital, this gives us an interesting opportunity to just look around at who in the ecosystem, if Kwaai were to build, the Linux of personal AI, what does that ecosystem look like? Who else can get paid by personal AI existing as a free service? So device companies, cloud, different angles, might entice them to get involved. Yeah, Toby.
My buddy joined the call, Karsten, and this is literally so timely. We met yesterday, and he did this for Red Hat, and we just so happened to live in the same town.
I love that.
Karsten, you want to say hello?
Let's save the chatter for the member updates later, member voices, and let's get over to Diego. We're going to be running a bit long. And yes, I would love for Carson. Please introduce yourself and the member voices coming up
in the chat.
Kai, we'll take that then too. Great. So today, hoping to actually break this down, looking at some of the different work groups that are forming. Diego is leading one of those, the AI and Life Sciences work group, getting organized. Diego, I think I saw your name. You want to say a few words here?
Yep. Hi, everyone. So we actually been trying to organize a meeting last week, but it didn't work because we couldn't get our availabilities much. But for next week, I sent a new link for when to meet. So everyone who wants to put in their availability so we can organize a meeting, that would be great. There are some ideas that we have for the side group, but I think it would be best that to have this initial meeting where everyone can contribute with their ideas or what we can do as a group together to start a project and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Afshin, any thoughts to add?
Yeah, sure. Diego and I have been, of course, working for a long time together, so we know each other well, and I think of ideas. But there could be anything from biological, life sciences type, answering disease-related issues that I know Kai works on, and or anything else related to can we use AI to produce models for medical devices or anything you guys come up with. So I don't know, Diego, that's you want to leave it open-ended, right? To any kind of project that you guys have in life sciences would be good. Of course, Diego's and I background is more biology based. So then if other people come in, that'd be good, for other ideas.
Yeah, exactly. I did prepare a presentation. I don't know if I can share like 2 slides just to show some of the initial ideas. Also to explore a bit of the implications of this personal assistant in healthcare. I did have some ideas that I would like to share with everyone. How can I share?
You'd have to make him, Matt. You'd have to make Diego a co-host.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see here my presentation, but okay,
I
I'll
think
share
that has my stop sharing too.
my
Yeah.
whole screen. Can you see now my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, it's coming. There we go. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So just briefly, I don't need a pointer. So I think one of the research goals, at least that I would like to explore, that we were discussing at least on the Slack, is assessing, for example, a large language model such as GPT as a personal assistant in healthcare, and in particular, how this is going to impact the accuracy of health-related information. Because one application that I see people are going to use this for is they're going to ask questions about medications, about the side applications, about what disease I may have based on the symptoms I'm having. So similar to the way we use Google for the Google search, right? So, and I think a lot of these questions, because we have many data sets that are well known in the literature of drug discovery or computational biology, we can actually assess this very accurately. And I think this should be a very straightforward study. And also we can know where the language model is making the most mistakes, so that that can probably lead to future studies as well. So this is one of the areas that I would like to focus at least, which is just an assessment. And I see that people started already trying to do this. For example, I saw this news on CNN that ChatGPT struggles to answer medical questions. And this was based simply on a conference publication where the doctors actually design a series of specific questions for ChatGPT, and then they assess how many they got it correctly or wrong. So it was not actually a very extensive study because it was presented in a conference, but I think this is the starting point, and this is the kind of question that I would like to answer in this subgroup, and I think we can do it with the knowledge we have. And of course, I leave open here. We had to define other research goals, right? This is just one of them that I've been thinking about, but as I've seen say, there are many questions that we could try to answer. Yeah, that's it.
Great. Thanks so much, Diego. I recall meeting a couple of people. One of them was actually in this group. Gavin Raj is one character, and the former product manager of TurboTax is also in this space of creating a personal assistant that will translate what your doctor has told you. You, for instance, you go to a meeting with a doctor, let's say a genetic oncologist, that's explaining to you why your child is afflicted with their condition, and you come away and you're trying to translate that into layman's terms. And I know Gavin Raj was talking specifically about that. And then this guy who I think Kai, you and I met him, or maybe just I met him at this AI conference we were at, and he's working on exactly the same thing. It's basically converting doctor speak into layman speak, or providing an assistant that allows you to navigate through the sort of landscape of expert terminology and language that medics will provide you.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I think, Diego, the positioning with the personal assistant in healthcare is extremely relevant. First of all, in the context of Kwaai, where we are working on the personal AI. And the other thing that is very important is to we try to protect personal data, but at the same time, we have to do it in a very smart way because healthcare need personal data to improve. So we have to do not go into kind of general personal data protection, and then it can go against the benefits of gathering this personal data for healthcare. Just one last thing is because you put neural networks, CEO. I mean, your goal is to put the company that I'm part with, or what? Because I don't have a neural network.
Your focus there, Kai. So yeah, please. I'm happy to put anything else there. Just kind of your general focus area.
Okay.
I didn't want to
okay, yeah.
reasoner.
Yeah, my general focus is then distributed AI.
Thank you. I'll update that for sure. Masu, I think I saw your hand up pop up in there as well. We have time for one more comment, and then Kai, if you can give us an update on the symposium, that'd be great.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so this is like a general question. Maybe I missed it. So the whole group's fundamentals, is this going to be around life science in general, or can we squeeze other topics as far as fundamentals?
Yeah, that's a great question. This is what's forming, and with our structure, the advisors like yourself, Masu, are really kind of the self-starters here for getting those work groups established. So thank you for Diego for getting those up, getting the meetings coordinated, getting that scheduled, providing the thoughts to kickstart that. So that would be, my thoughts there, Masu, would be if there's a group, let's get a Slack channel set up. Let's get a meeting link shared around to see when folks can meet up for that, and get folks talking about it.
For instance, Masu, if you want to create a Slack channel around emergent behaviors or swarming or that sort of thing, which is your speciality, then I know there are lots of people that would participate in it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
That would be awesome. Great. Kai, why don't you provide some updates on the symposium?
Yeah, sure. So it was a great gathering, and thank you, Reza, for coming with Ruth and all the other speakers. We had the good sponsorship. So Arcus Nexus is involved, hosted by Aquarius. We had for the day, I would say anywhere between, based on Aquarius, 70 to 80 people. There are different type of people. There was investors, startup company that presented in the morning pitch to the investors. Some of them actually I already talked with them to partner with. So it's a good thing to start to and Diego, of course, you are far, but it's a kind of things that push in the front end the AI, digital biology. So we the discussion was about first the startup, and then after that we had the panel moderated by Pankaj Kedia on the investment, and then after that we have Stefano. He was talking about his research. He's published a book on animal and human intelligence, distinguishing and if you have a lot of time, I mentioned that the difference between pattern recognition and reasoning, that is much more human. And today, ML is mainly pattern recognition. Then after that, we have Ash that talk about not only we should talk about the data architecture, but the AI architecture itself. So what kind of AI you are using and so on. So based on that, you set up your environment. And then Pankaj Kedia had another talk. And one of the things he mentioned that is interesting is how user interface is important. The mobile phone exists for a long time. The internet exists for a long time. The AI exists for very, very long time. And it's only when you have a user interface that the public can see it, then it go up. So I think for our personal AI, it's something that we really need to focus on. And then after that, Reza did a marathon through the 50 slide of math. And I think people, I mean, I discussed with some people, they were interested to see, yeah, AI is important, but at the same time, we have to think about the consequence of that. And finally, I'm organizing another AI digital biology labs during JP Morgan. So any of you that is in San Francisco, let me know. It's going to be on January 10th. It's going to be hosted by PricewaterhouseCoopers. We already have, after 5 days, 80 registration. And one of them that is interesting is the CEO of Zip Code Bio. The co-founder is Dr. Drew Weissman, that just received the Nobel Prize on the mRNA. So it's a hot domain, AI digital biology.
Kai, if there's a similar slot where we can pitch a Kwaai movement, and let me know.
Yeah, I have to, because we have to make it much smaller because you know, JP Morgan is crazy. But yeah, let me see how we can put it in the way that it's you know, a natural flow, and probably it's something at the end, because it's open the discussion, right? The 50 slide with Matt. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll trim that down.
This is the SF event. Is that what we're talking? JP Morgan.
Sorry.
Is that the SF event?
SF?
Is that San Francisco?
Yeah, San Francisco. Yeah. So if you download the app, but I can send to you you guys the link. If I can share quickly the screen, I can show it.
Shoot a link over in the chat,
Okay,
Kai. We're going to
perfect.
keep it here.
Okay, I do that.
Cool. Thank you very much. That sounds awesome. And Balaji's already on creating channels in Slack to get work groups going. I love that. Fantastic. Quick update here from the policy team that's forming up. So there's Marcus is on the call, though. If you're still driving, Marcus, no worries here. I'll say a few words, and feel free to pop in and jump in if you'd like. The policy work group here is getting together, forming up. Sushil Kumar, who spoke during the Kwaai Summit on policy, the state of policy, what policy meant to AI, did a fantastic job here representing, you know, what it could be. Has since connected up with Kwanzaa Hall, former congressman from Atlanta, Georgia 5th District. And Marcus Halside regaled us with some wonderful thoughts on structured dialogue a few weeks ago during a lightning talk. We owe Marcus circulating some of that content here as well, which is going to happen once we get the Google Drive stuff set up a little bit better. There's an opportunity for the group to speak at Maastricht University in the Netherlands. This is a hybrid event, in-person, virtual. Organizer reached out for a call for papers, so this is extending that CFP opportunity to the folks here on the call if you're interested. This seems like a pretty good topic for us, really talking about, you know, kind of, hey, where we're at and what are some of the considerations that we need to be making about the legality of all of this. So, you know, fitting nicely into what does the future of work look like? You know, what are our rights to our knowledge models and things like that? So really great opportunity to share some of the thoughts that have been forming here. Marcus, did you have a moment to say a few words?
Yeah, thank you very much. I managed to get myself onto a computer and away out of the car. I was asked to pick up a granddaughter at an emergency. That's why I wasn't here, but I succeeded. Yeah, no, we just did a structured democratic dialogue on the subject of AI regulation, and we're busy writing that up. So it might be an opportunity to present some of our findings at the seminar in Maastricht.
Fantastic. It's at 3 a.m. Pacific time. So anyone that's interested in virtual, that's going to be better for you all over there. Thanks for joining late yet again, Marcus. Appreciate that. Yeah, Kai, go ahead.
Yeah, very quickly, I've been invited by CLS, as you know, it's a California Life Science Association, to be part of the panel in Sacramento that will be moderated by a senator for the policy. But I go there more in the logic of educating people on AI before you think about to do policy. So it's going to be February 13. And if you are interested, I will send you more info about that, organized by California Life Science.
Awesome.
Please
Thank you.
do.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just let you. So they contact me as thinking note, but I'm going to go with a 2 hat, of course, with Kwaai.
Excellent. Thanks, Kai. And this is kind of surfacing the thought that we'll probably need to get a good event board going here, show when and where folks are speaking, opportunities to get speakers, and publish that out to the Kwaai network, so we can keep that, so we can coordinate that. Selena, maybe you and I can team up on something around that. Cool. Wonderful. Let's keep popping. Tools work group. Like Riza said, we had a busy week. Some great calls this week. Cyan, why don't you give us an update?
Yeah, for sure. Good morning. So the progress that we made this week is split in 3 parts. The ones that are done, which is the Trello boards per stream. We shared the links over the architecture channel. If you want to join to any of those, please feel free. And we migrated all the Confluence documents to the Google Docs, so everybody can see them. And I think this is better for everyone. On the progress, we have a lot of progress in the kernel and pod. We have a LinkedIn API spike that is being worked by Jesus. The whole purpose of starting working on the LinkedIn is so we can focus a little bit more on the omni-channel and not only on the email side of the app. So we're working on that and aiming for that. There's a spike on MemGPT that is being done by Jim, and also Melinda is putting together some documents that might be helpful for this spike. There's a solid spike that is being worked by Brittany, and there's already like a POC progress, and it looks pretty cool. The communications POC is being migrated to Colab. So Josh and Roman are taking care of that. And we also have some UML and actions diagrams that Roman is going to be working on, and he's currently working on. We had a meeting with Risa yesterday, and he shared with us some other diagrams, so we might have a little bit more of an instance of how things should work, so everybody can understand better everything, and we're all on the same page. And there's some PRD updates that I need to do, mostly focusing on the omni-channel, not only on the emails. And also there were some comments on the PRD, so I need to check that. So that's the in progress site. And next steps, we need to create a backlog per stream. So for pod, for OS, and for kernel, and that's something that we can take a look next week. Create a roadmap per stream will be really nice too. We're trying to aim to March, so starting some roadmaps will be pretty good. There's also email plus LinkedIn data formatting that we might be able to start working on once the LinkedIn spike is done and the emails, extracting emails is already done. So we have that. Also, one spike for SMS, so we can focus a little bit more on the omni-channel just to know how it will work, and we can apply it later in the future. And Risa found out that there's a open source project that is doing basically what we are aiming for, and it is called Inbox Manager Agent. So maybe it will be pretty cool if we can check how we can use the Inbox Manager Agent within our project, so we can work around it. And
yeah, so Simon, on that note, I looked at it again. It's doing a fraction of what we want to do, and if we can take that as a starting point, that's great. I mean, that's the whole benefit of open source. But we need to, generalize the template and also make it omni-channel. And then I think that would be a great MVP for our target. Unveiling of this is at the Scale conference. So Yeah.
That was what we was talking early this morning, Risa. So we agree on that approach. Is part, and it's going to help us a little bit on the MVP on March.
Great.
We'll also
Okay.
check it out in detail.
And thanks so much, Arcus Nexus, for powering us through this development. It's really great.
Yeah, and Cyan, appreciate the organization that you're bringing to this on a weekly basis. Thank you. One interesting observation, that I thought came up this week as well was just kind of the thoughts of, we're talking about Pi in a lot of different contexts, as an app, as a communication assistant, as a kernel, as an OS. And, it's been hard, I think, in some of our communications just to be talking about the right things. So what I really liked that Cyan showed beginnings of this week was the Trello boards, kind of breaking it down. What goes into the OS versus, what's the app that sits on top, for managing, let's say, LinkedIn communications. What's the MS Paint that's included. So some very interesting conversations happening across multiple streams now. And this is a really interesting opportunity. The life sciences folks going out and converging on a Pi app use case can bring that back, connect that with the Pi kernel work, and we're off and running with yet another capability for your personal AI assistant. So really awesome to see this stuff really starting to take shape. With that, why don't we pop over to some member voices? Toby, you want to lead this off yet again?
Sure. So I guess the kind of main thing or person I want to introduce is my buddy Carson, who lives here in Santa Cruz with me. I think he's still on the call, and he has tons of experience in building open source communities. He does this as a full-time gig, and I just figured what better person could we think of, at least in my network, to bring in besides him and another bro, Van, which I met with, and they both volunteered on the spot. But Karsten is on the call right now. So Karsten, first, thank you, appreciate you. If you could share with the group your expertise, your wheelhouse, that would be awesome.
Sure.
And I'm sure they'll have questions for you.
Yeah, you bet. Just really briefly, I'm a community architect. And basically, when you want to do a community that collaborates together, then having an architecture of infrastructure of all that participation and making things happen from the human systems through to the physical systems of making things go on. And then my specialty is around open source and then open in general. So open design and open scholarship, open science, and so on. I did that for a couple of decades at Red Hat. Earlier this year, I started a consultancy. So myself and everybody else in my network and brought across the field, like Toby, for example, and other folks, that we can work together to make things happen. And this means that we can be first order contributors to open source projects, as well as doing consulting work for that. I can drop a couple of links in the chat to the company website of Open Community Architects, and the other guidance or piece out there that I have is the opensourceway.org, which is the guidebook that a handful of us wrote, the second version of a couple of years ago, on community management best practices. And so, I mean, like, I'm seeing all the best practices in this call. This is really great. I love, if people know what to do primarily, but it's always nice to have a handbook to remind ourselves of that 10% that, and to convince people of why we do that 10% that seems kind of awkward. So a lot of really great stuff. And then, and the questions I dropped in chat were related to what I was talking to Toby about yesterday, which is there's the open source initiative, who owns the open source definition. I think there's a recognition that the words open AI are more difficult to deal with around trademarks and definitions and stuff, but open source AI is something that's within their wheelhouse. And so they've been working on an open source AI definition starting in the spring of this year, I think. And I caught up really quickly in October when I was at All Things Open in Raleigh, and I got to sit on a session of working through basically the elements of the definition in small work groups. And it was a really productive session. I followed up by doing it again at the Linux Foundation Member Summit the next week in Monterey. To a completely different group of people going over the same material, and they turned around and reversed 2/3 of the work we had done the previous week, because it just more people who think about it. You say, yes, there's a problem here, but no, it's not our problem to solve. Yes, there's a problem here. Oh wait, that's really not our problem to solve. And so all of that stuff is archived publicly, including the notes our hand notes. They've got pictures of those in there. So all that work is out there. And I'm sure that Stefano Marfulli, who's the executive director of the OSI, will be doing something at scale in Pasadena as well. So that was so the question I had for Toby back was just seeing, that if folks are tracking those definition work happening, I can drag out the links to, well, I'm on my phone right now. It's hard to find, but a little searching should hopefully find what you're looking for, to see what the current status of the definition is. And you might find like, yeah, it looks like, and so there's a chance to get in there and help if it's got problems according to the viewpoints. So if you got questions about why it is that things are the way they are, I might be able to answer some of those questions. I'd be happy to try. This is a pretty good time for me, as long as I drive to my Saratoga appointment early enough to sit with you all and join in a weekly. So I'd be happy to do so and see things going forward. So thanks for the warm welcome, Toby. Appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, welcome, Karsten. That's awesome. Thank you, Toby. Anybody else would like to introduce yourself? Please pop in with the hand raised there. If that's fine. If you've spoken before, we're at this point now where it's just a good opportunity for us to chat about what's been on our mind over the past week, and with regards to Pi and Kwaai.
Yeah, we've had 8 new members join just from the Digital Biology Symposium. So that's fantastic. Thank you, some of you on this call.
Excellent. Serge, yes, please.
Just a really quick one. It's for the group generally. I'm gonna focus more on doing what I unfortunately happen to be good at, which is getting communication going between our group and the outside world, and etc. I just looked at Karsten's LinkedIn, and it looks like we've got a very lot of open source people in our intersection. And luckily, that reminded me that there are all these other people I forgot about, like Chris DeBoner and other folks. So I'll be following up. But the media channel has been set up on Slack. The idea is this: if you are working on something, it's not that it has to go through a hierarchical organization or whatever, right? If it's something interesting that needs attention and it can bring in other people, and it doesn't need to be other developers, put it in that channel. I will figure out a way to get it out there if it's appropriate. If not, unfortunately, I'm one of those blunt, honest people. I don't know anything else. I'll just tell you, like, either how we can gussy it up or we can ignore it. And likewise, I'll be sharing as well interesting links that I find out there. So anybody who's interested on the media side there, Toby and Karsten mostly, also pop in and join. Okay, that's it.
Thanks.
Awesome, and thank you so much, Serge. We've got a pretty basic website up there. Serge has volunteered his time and expertise to jump in, kind of help us get something a little more glossier, a little more worthy of our federally official status as we go out there and tell our story. So thank you, Serge. Really appreciate all your efforts.
No problems at all. No problems at all.
Cool. All right, Karsten, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, that was me reaching for a thumbs up. I hit the wrong.
That was the raise the roof there.
Fingers in the roof for sure. Thank you.
Hey guys, I just want to make sure this is not a dictatorship, but I do sort of like try and sort of coerce things, but get things in, put them out, right? And the worst is that somebody will ignore it, right? I mean, that's the worst. But really, there will be some feedback and stuff. But get things out, because we've got to talk to the other world. We can't just keep talking to ourselves, yeah? Because we've got to attract people and support, not just at the developer, technologist level, but at a general level, right? You're trying to do something like Linux. We need to communicate. I think Karsten looks like knows that game. But yeah, throw things in. Get enthusiastic.
Yeah, one opportunity we have here is to lift up the voices of Kwaai members, Kwaai advisors. Like, hey, you got a blog post. Brittany had a great blog post on personal data sets that Kwaai published early on. We have admittedly fallen a bit behind on our LinkedIn post velocity and all of that. But this is the opportunity. Help us kind of crowdsource the best Kwaai content so we can get it out there easily.
Yeah, and it's also things like this, like science project on email. I totally respect what Razor said, that it's very niche, but it's these niche things initially that get attention. And people say like, oh wow, that agent could really solve my information overload problem. That's interesting. Let's take a look at it. Oh, and then they discover it's part of a broader framework with more initiatives, right? So that's why things like that are really exciting to me, because I'm like, oh, I know a group that would love to hear about that, and that's the sort of thing that will also bring in the office productivity people like Microsoft and other folks who will then say, you know what, we'd love to put somebody on the steering committee and drop in a large check. But that's where we stick to our guns and say it sticks to the MIT license. Anyway, that's another bit of political rant, but
yeah, very, very good topic that was also discussed, this week was, kind of the thoughts of, hey, what license are we going to be, putting this stuff under? So that maybe should have made the agenda this week to chat further about it, but could certainly use time and attention at next week's board meeting as well as thereafter. So keep that in mind. We're an open source AI lab. There's lots of different open source models. Some of the thoughts that were shared this week and some of what was leaned into earlier in the week on the Pi architecture call was the MIT license with some Creative Commons attribution influence. Really help folks from Kwaai that have put the time and the effort in to get this stuff out there, get recognized for it. So keep those thoughts in mind. These are big decisions that are gating meaningful contributions by a lot of folks as well. So something we're gonna have to figure out. Yeah, Kai, go ahead.
Yeah, very quickly, since now we are a real nonprofit, I think it's very important we have Kwaai.org.
We own it. Okay, so yes, let's bring up that topic. Maybe the Kwaai.ai is for our internal use, and Kwaai.org is the public facing
great.
site.
I'm seeing plus 100s in the chat, but Ian, any thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it shouldn't just be a topic for discussion. We need a decision on the license because it's holding back contributions. So that needs to happen at the board level next week. Otherwise, we lose another board cycle to trying to decide what license we're using. The strong opinion of the group, the strong consensus was the MIT license is probably the right license. I will advocate for some sort of dual license. I think BSD and Mozilla public license are both good choices as well, but there's no reason not to use the MIT license. We want people to be able to do commercial stuff on top of it because it gives us reach. We don't want a viral license that makes it hard for people to contribute their source code. So I think that you tell us what you need from us to help with the decision process. But right now, code contributions can't come in until we know how it's going to be licensed.
Right. Ian, perhaps next week a lightning talk to just enlighten us. And this is the sort of thing that the advisors would actually put forward as a proposition. The board will vote on it.
Yeah, great.
Great. Okay.
Happy to do that. I am not a lawyer. If there's someone who is a great IP law licensed person who we have in the family who can speak to it in more detail, that would be awesome. But I think I can do it. Serge can do it. Let's have a discussion next week before ahead of the board meeting.
Okay, great.
Wonderful. Thanks for adding that, Ian. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anyone else like to weigh in today?
Yeah, one thing I want to bring up is maybe we should also start thinking about spreading across the state, because a lot of you guys are on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast, of course, but getting more people involved in these things can probably get little pockets of activity. Like I could try things here in the East Coast, but other people in the Midwest, for example, can get pockets of activity going, and that might stimulate more of this outreach, like Serge is talking about, what you guys are talking about. Get ideas up.
Maybe a meetup group.
Yeah.
In,
like for example, I could Yeah, I could organize like a meeting at Broad Institute here. That's no problem. But you just have to give them enough advance warning so I could reserve a room. And there'll be a lot of Brodies, as they call them. I'm sure we'll be very interested in hearing what we have to talk about. Especially if you organize, let's say, 3-hour, symposium, and we talk about AI. Those guys are all about AI and life sciences. So I think we could tap a whole market that we don't have yet if we wanted to do that. And if you guys, some of you guys want, meet up something that you guys wanted to come out here, we could do that. Just give me enough time, but that's something to throw out. In Midwest too, I'm sure there's plenty of places around Midwest.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, Serge.
Just to add to Afshin's thing, Afshin, you still in Cambridge or near there?
Yeah. So I'm talking about Broad Institute there. That's why good stuff happening there.
Well, I was going to say, why don't we try and organize a meetup on development for Kwaai on the MIT campus?
That's true. You have Media Lab connections, so we could do that. That's.
I was going to say, there's a lot of that agent work and stuff came from there, and Patty's group stuff. I can drop a note to Patty and that lot and say, like, hey, why don't you get this going with the students? So I'll just put one on ML, get one of the students to run it. It'll be much better. That way it won't get political.
And Ian seems like he's connected there, so he can come out to come out to Media Lab too, Ian.
Oh, that's an idea.
Yeah, totally.
I miss Media Lab. I love the Media Lab. I spent a lot of time out there.
Ian, where are you? Where are you based?
San Francisco.
Oh, you're in Frisco. Okay, you're West Coast like me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Maybe I'll start a Slack channel. How about what should we call it? I'll figure out something.
Well, actually,
meetings.
Actually, do it in the media channel.
Media
or,
group. Yeah.
Like Toby and Carsten are both like experts on freaking community. This is what this is.
Okay.
So actually starting a meetup group with chapters already in Boston and let's say San Francisco. I could do one in Portland. Actually, an idiot just gave up 1,000-person tech meetup group, which I just.
You did? Did you say you just gave it up?
Yeah, I just gave it up.
You stepped down. We will take over any meetup communities.
Okay, yeah, go check it out. Go, Toby. It's called ThinkPDX. I had a bit of an unexpected career problem about 3 weeks ago, but yeah, go for it. Check it out. If it's there, I'll talk to Stephen Borsay, who I think is taking over, and he'll hand it over to you if you've got an account.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll start this up. Let's say in the Slack meeting channel, and then we'll start. Maybe whoever wants to do these meetups, I think it's a great idea.
Can you give me a link in the Slack channel to the group as well, sir? That would be great.
Yeah. Good ideas.
Thank you.
That's great. I wanted to actually just check in if there was there was some great additions of thought from Lynn this week on the Pi architecture group and just some thoughts around UI, UX, and Figma. Lynn, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you had any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear it. Maybe we'll give you a moment to collect them. James, you put your hand up there.
Super. Hey guys, I'm going to paste back in again for any member that's going to be attending CES in the next couple of weeks. I just sent over a list of activities that are after event or during event, hosted by a range of folks from Landmark Venture to hardware and software. A lot of AI powered conversations are taking place at these events. Most of them I looked at are free to attend. It's really just getting on their list. So definitely anybody here on the group that wants to carry the Kwaai message, do take advantage of it if you're going to be at Vegas.
Thanks, James. I hadn't planned on going, but maybe I'll look at that. Normally I'd go with one of my employers, and now, so maybe I will look at that.
Well, I may join because Kwanzaa wants to go. He's never been. This would be his first one. So if you do end up going, maybe we should have a little Kwaai group. Let's see if we can organize, and really get some strategic value out of it as well. I mean, we can't write it off now.
That's awesome.
Right. A Kwaai entourage.
Yes.
I got this list initially from
Velvet Ropes.
So we should probably reach out and see if we could grab some space from her and host this. Is a Kwaai thing.
Isn't Victor doing something at?
Yeah, he's a partner with CES, so he puts on his own events. When he does Digital Hollywood at CES, it's in partnership with CES.
Right.
I mean,
So Victor,
well, we should definitely at least support Victor if we're there.
I've helped Victor out in the past. But he's now in the sort of pay for play mode where I've pitched Kwaai to him as a whole track, and he said, "Yeah, what have you done for me lately?" You know, so I don't know.
Yeah, I hate when he pulls that Janet Jackson song out of the air, but we have to jack him up.
Right.
I think we just need to pick one thing that really resonates and just, Kwaai does this, and just to see how we can drive that with AI.
Let's look at what he has, Hines, and if there's something, we can get on it. So let's just look at it, and we'll pull the homie card and see what we can get happening.
Sounds great. But Lynn, I did see your hand come up here and then go down. Didn't want to cut it off there.
Oh yeah, just recognizing that you identified that I'm working on getting a Figma that I can share with the group, and I'm syncing up with Ramon and Cyan. We'll probably talk more in detail in our next meeting, but yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for jumping in, and I just want to give you a quick shout out too for throwing your introduction in the introduction panel. Please take your time to reintroduce yourself. Follow Lynn's excellent lead there, and speak up. Kwaai, you want to give us the last comment here, and then Riza can send us off.
Sorry, you talked to me?
You had your
sorry.
virtual hand.
I didn't hear you. No, quickly, you were mentioning to have some place to post events. So we are going to have that on Slack, or what do you have in mind?
To post what? I'm sorry?
The event?
Yeah, well, Slack will likely be the best place to share them out. Selena and I will come up with a good plan to share something out. This will probably be a new, need to be a section of the website that we maintain as we're working on that with Serge. Toby, appreciate you syncing up here as kind of our chief evangelist out there, spreading the Kwaai word. So, all thoughts welcomed on these next phases as we're trying to figure out how to get out in the community more and make more noise. Awesome. And you as well, Carl.
So, I have some great, I think we could actually host, let's plan an actual hackathon once we have our first release, right? Our first bit of code. I think that's one of the best ways that we could get not just devs, but the ecosystem and attract some sponsors. And I have a lot of people there. Like, I can actually help with that. I actually have a lot of contacts, and I don't mind doing it. So I begged for startups, for profits all my life. So
that's awesome. And now the paperwork's done. Now it's time for the fun part. I love it.
That's right. Let's get these checks in the door.
That's right. Riza, you want to send us off on that note?
Sure. Okay. So meeting number 20. Thanks so much. Another vibrant meeting. Great progress going forward. There was some talk about maybe postponing or not doing meeting 21 or 22. I'm actually in favor of keeping it. We will be, but if I'm open to suggestions. Meeting 22 will be on the 29th. I'll be in Cape Town with my family, and but I'll still try and dial in for that. It's a movement, and so it's not just a single participant. I think the public meetings should go on. We got some tremendous clarity on what our MVP is going to be, and we've also got a target date at the Scale conference where we might even have a booth. So we've not had the conversation with Scale yet. I know Jordan made some introductions. We're trying to get that meeting, but we'll probably go for a booth, and we'll probably be demoing the Pi and the Pod in that presentation. The Pod being the personal operating system, personal AI operating system, and Pi being the first app, like the MS Paint example. And so looking forward to that. That's March, Pasadena next year. We're now moving into a new phase. Now that we've got our corporate filings in place, or we can now move into the sort of nonprofit phase where, well, the next practical thing is to corral us into funding mode. And we've already got a number of experts in the space, not only getting cash into an account, but also funding by getting contributions in kind. I think that's super important. And then just once we've shown value, I think then we can attract some big players to come and join the board and participate. Some really big names, and we've been throwing out some names already, and but let's come. Toby, you've got your hand raised.
Me and Ian went to Philip's office and hung out last week, and you should follow up. Like, his son is doing some cool stuff around agents, and they definitely are big open source advocates over there. Did you guys ever connect?
No, send me that link again. Did we connect? I think we did. I'm not sure. Send me the link again, please, Toby. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds great. Yeah.
And
we can do some event stuff in that space too, by the way. So.
Oh yeah, it's huge and it's totally empty right now. All the Second Life people work from home, and they didn't want to make them come back.
Okay, Phil Rosedale.
Yeah.
Phil Rosedale. So yeah, I did connect with him. Phil
Rosedale
had my job before me.
Yeah.
Phil Rosedale was CTO at Real Networks.
Yep.
In like a decade before, they had a CTO. I think they went for a period without CTO. So yeah, Rob Glazer introduced me to Phil. Phil and I had a conversation. We did follow up. He seemed a bit lukewarm on the idea, but maybe I should reconnect with him. So thanks very much. That's a big player. We're looking for people of, yes, we are looking for people of cultural significance that brand names that would want to tie their brand to this movement, and I think that's going to be important for the next phase of Kwaai. What's coming up next is the hackathon straight after this. So between you and the hackathon is me just rambling on and saying goodbye to you all and thanking you all for participating in another vibrant weekly public meeting. They're really good videos for those that have not watched it. Catch up on the videos. They'll be posted on LinkedIn and on the website. And Joey's also extracting little shorts out of it that are also on the YouTube channel, so that you can then repurpose that and post that on your own LinkedIn feed or wherever on social media, and use those little shorts to attract people to come to Kwaai. We are very excited. I'm itching to get onto the hackathon channel next, the hackathon call. So I'm going to sign off here, and good night, Grayson. Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
Happy Kwaai.
Happy Kwaai.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.